Hello, YouTube. This is Tim, your friendly neighborhood bastard, and I've got a dirty little secret. I bet I'm the only person on the internet who's ever said that. Yeah. Seriously, though, we're looking at the Catalinbread dirty little secret. This pedal, I'm not sure when it was manufactured, but I believe it's a Generation 1. It was lent to me by a buddy of mine, technically his dad, along with a bunch of other gain pedals. It's a charming little distortion pedal. That's about the best way I can put it. You know, there's really... It skews toward a sound that I don't have much of a use for, which is sort of a low to medium gain, Marshall-y type of sound. Really good for, you know, things like older classic rock, maybe a little bit of pop punk, even if you turn up the gain and everything. I'm running it into the beige channel of my 11 rack, which is my Bogner Ecstasy green channel emulation, just with not a whole hell of a lot going on. It's basically your neutralness. It's a beige alert. And just a little bit of reverb, you know, the tiniest bit of breakup if I really murder the strings. And I'm running my Chapman ML3 Modern into it with GFS Crunchy Pat in the bridge. So let's check it out. So the first thing that you'll notice, I've got the gain and the tone both at noon. I've got the volume up a little bit just to compete with the volume drop when you turn these things on. And it's got this rock switch. So it's either between rock or rock, which gives it a little bit more gain and smooths out the upper mids. You can compensate for that somewhat with the tone control. I've noticed when I was messing about with it. And you can definitely smell what it is cooking. So let's turn it on and see what this thing does. So here's the clean channel again. So you hear immediately it changed the character of the sound. You know, the Bogners are modded Marshalls anyway, so it already had kind of a Marshall-y vibe. Now it's like, yo, dog, we heard you like Marshall. So, and that is on the middle of the road gain. So it's remarkably low gain given that it is at half. For a distortion pedal, I would assume that there'd be a little bit more at this point, but I suppose not all distortion pedals are created equal. I don't see that as a problem because of the type of tones that this thing goes for. But let's flip the rock switch, and you'll hear what it does immediately. Sort of having to reach over. It's kind of a pain in the ass. So yeah, get a little bit more sustain on there. It just gives it a little bit more gain. It just gooses it. So that's not a bad feature for it to have. I would probably have that turned on more or less all the time. It's not one of those things that's real accessible while you're using it if it's a primary tone generator. And the interesting thing about this pedal is that I noticed it doesn't work, at least on my equipment, right? So again, I'm running it through an 11 rack. It takes pedals pretty well, sure, especially, you know, if you're goosing one of its amp models, but it doesn't, yeah, it's not 100% a real valve amp or anything like that. So your mileage may vary, but I didn't notice that this thing did real well actually boosting an amp. But by itself, you know, it's just got that sort of real nice character about it that really lends itself well to being a primary tone if you're into the lower mid-gain stuff. So let's play a little bit more with it. I'm going to turn up the gain and show you what it can do. So yeah, really not a whole hell of a lot of gain on tap, even at its highest setting there. But it does do pretty well for, again, that classic rock stuff. And yeah, it's got a nice flavor about it. Let me mess about with the tone control a little bit so you can see what the extremes are there. So it refuses to get harsh. It just outright refuses. But you do hear the bottom drop out a little bit there. Let's turn it the other way. This is what I call the amp is in the other room underneath a blanket simulator. I can't think of a reason why that tone would be useful, but I'm sure somebody can think of something. So I'm going to put the tone back up to about noon. Little slightly over. Disengage the rock switch. Now it's back to rock. And here's the maximum gain on with the switch off there. So again, it's very much like an AC/DC level of gain that you're getting out of this thing. That's really the long and short of it. I mean, if that's what you're looking for, this thing does it in spades. I would definitely check it out. The Generation 2 and Generation 3 demos that I've seen online have definitely a bit more of a martially flavor about it even than this, and obviously they've made some tweaks over the years. But if you happen to find one of the original ones like this, it's still really cool, and I honestly have no idea what the things go for because, like I said, I borrowed this thing. I just wanted to check it out and show you guys. So look it up on your own. eBay is your friend there. But that does it for our look at the Catalinbread Dirty Little Secret. Until next time, I'm Tim Lyons, your friendly neighborhood bastard, signing off.